Hello, everybody. Welcome along. It may be international break, but we are still here churning out the content. It's a collaboration today with my good friend, Just Joe. Do make sure, if you haven't already, you've subscribed to his channel. And Joe and I are going to be choosing one player we would sign from every championship team. Let's get into it. Right. Okay, Joe, we decided that we're going to go from bottom to top, and you can view this, answer this however you see fit, whether it's a fit for your team, it's a young player that's going to develop what you need right now in a promotion chase, that sort of thing. So we're starting at the bottom, slim pickings. And Joe, if we'd done this for the last 10 years for Sheffield Wednesday, I would have picked Bannon, but he's now 33. And I don't have much resale value, and Ipswich play very dynamic. So I've gone for Anthony Musaba, who's come in this year. Young winger, bit of upside, can work him in, and maybe down the line he develops. But slim pickings at Wednesday, Joe. What say you?
Yeah, definitely. And to be honest, it's funny you started with that because I have actually gone with Barry Bannon. The reason I've gone with Bannon, just because he has the experience that's needed, I think, in our side anyway. There is a lot lacking, and if I'm being honest, I don't rate that squad at all. And the one player that I do rate, although he is, closer to 40 now, is Barry Bannon. So yeah, I would take Bazza for sure. Moving up the table now, we've got QPR.
I know exactly who you're going to pick for this because I'm sitting on one.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is as well, he's the only player I'd imagine. Anyway, I know you'll have someone maybe different, Ben, but yeah, it has to be Ilias Chair. I think Leeds United wouldn't mind a cheeky bid come January because we're crying out for a 10. So maybe he could be that fit. So yeah, Ilias Chair, easy pick for this one.
Right. Joe, I'm trying to go 8 steps ahead. So because I knew you were going to pick Chair, because I know you love him, I've picked Sinclair Armstrong, who against Ipswich was really good. He beat up our huge physical forward. I think there's definitely something to work with there. Young player. Everyone wants that forward in their squad who's got the physicality, who can do that side of the game. So I've not gone for Chair just for that reason, and I've gone for Sinclair Armstrong. We're going to go up one place. And Rotherham, who need a manager as of yesterday. I saw Rotherham the other night, Joe, and again, a little bit slim pickings, and I don't want to pick a loanee. I'm going to pick the goalie. Full Swedish international Victor Johansson in goal. Ipswich don't, per se, need a keeper, but I think in terms of a nice asset, I'd go for Johansson.
And I'm gonna join you with that as well. We've both gone for the same player, Victor Johansson. I do really love Meslier. This is no reflection on him whatsoever, but there was quite a few in the fan base that said, if we're going to pick up anyone from the Championship, he's probably one of the best goalkeepers to go for. And like you say, Rotherham, they had a great side, and Victor Johansson for me would be the one. Moving up, we've got Huddersfield. I mean, if I'm being honest, the worst side we've faced this season. But the one shining light in that game was Delano Bergzorg. He caused a few problems leading the line. Big guy, as you mentioned. So I think a lot of Leeds fans will agree with me and believe that he was really their only decent player on that day. It would be Delano Bergzorg for me.
Yeah, I do agree, Joe. It's a bit slim pickings with Huddersfield. What every team needs, though, is they need set plays. And when Huddersfield got to the playoff final a couple of years back, Daniel Sinani, he's not there anymore, and Sorba Thomas were the guys. And Thomas can play on the wing or at wing back and takes an absolutely mean set play. So I think he would add value to most squads, to be honest. So I'll go for Sorba Thomas. Right. Coventry, which is a bit of a weird one because they're underperforming so badly. Ipswich need some backup for George Hurst, and I've already picked one big physical striker. I know Ellis Sims hasn't been great really so far this season. I think he's only scored in one game, hasn't he? But young player, good pedigree at Everton. He'll know Nathan Broadhead already. So I will go. I would have liked Ipswich to have signed Ellis Sims, but once Coventry got that money for Gyökeres and Hamer, they just blew everyone out of the water on them. Maybe overpaid a little bit, I think, but I'll go for Ellis Sims.
Yeah, and again, great minds think alike. I was exactly the same and felt that I was going to have to justify his not so great start, but you did that for me, Ben. So, yeah, I'd go Ellis Sims as well. I'm actually quite surprised at how poor Coventry have done, to be honest. I thought they'd have had a decent season, but it's not going well so far. Newly promoted side next, Plymouth Argyle. For me, it has to be Morgan Whittaker. We've just played Plymouth, should I say? And they weren't great, but he was one of the players that when he did get on the ball, he looked really dangerous. I think his GA this season is phenomenal for a lad that's just come into the division as well. So yeah, I'd imagine Morgan Whittaker won't be at Plymouth past this season. I think other clubs will look at him higher up the division potentially. But yeah, I think it's an easy pick for me with Morgan Whittaker.
It's an easy pick for me too. I totally agree. And he turns into prime Lionel Messi whenever he plays Ipswich. We played him a couple of weeks ago, Joe. Literally 6 minutes in, we're like, right, we need to stop Morgan Whittaker shooting from the edge of the area. Runs down the right wing, cuts inside, and just smashes one in the top corner. And you're like, yeah. That guy can play. He's done it again. Yeah. Moving on to Birmingham. I'm going to go for Ethan Laird for Birmingham. Ipswich are struggling. Are you going to pick him as well? Ipswich are struggling.
It's so funny. I promise everyone we've not looked at each other's lists and copied, but yeah.
God, it was bad enough even synchronising, landing on the filming at the same time, let alone the picks. But yeah, I'll go for Ethan Laird, who we came up against him in League One when he was at MK on loan. Good young player, good pedigree. Yeah. Manchester United, and we literally have a loanee right back from Manchester United, so that position needs filling. And you're going to say pretty much exactly the same thing by the sound of it.
Yeah, and when we did play Birmingham earlier on in the season, he was, a shining light for them. And I know we have Jed Spence waiting in the wings, but at the minute we don't have a proper recognised right back. So Ethan Laird is that. So yeah, he was the standout pick for me. Swansea next, who leads.
You already took their best player.
Yeah, that is a point. I'm looking for a little bit of versatility. He is a good player. He is a defender. Leeds need options there. So I'm going to go for Ben Cabango because I think he can play a number of positions across the back four. So yeah, I would go Cabango.
I've gone for defender as well. It would be obvious. I know you're not going to pick Grimes. It'd be obvious to pick Grimes.
Oh yeah, I definitely did. I seen him and I was like, I can't do that now.
I've gone for Harry Darling, who's still fairly good age and bought by Russell Martin for plenty of money. Everyone wants the ball playing centre half, don't they? And he is one of them. Now, for Norwich, I think you're going to pick a certain Brazilian player. So I was going to pick him, and I'm not going to now because you're going to pick him. So it was him or Johnny Rowe, wasn't it? So I'll go for Johnny Rowe, who's had a superb season. Obviously the guy you're about to pick is gonna able to run the game, isn't he? So either would be fine, but I'll say Johnny Rowe and you'll say
Sahara. Definitely. And it's quite interesting because between him and Ilias Chair, I think I would maybe opt for Sahara just from what I've seen. I really, really rate him, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens at Norwich as well with Wagner and stuff. So I think it'd be an easy, not I say easy, but it's someone that will move on from there soon enough, I'd imagine. So yeah, I would go Sarah. And like I say, when we played him, really, really top player. Scored a good goal from inside the area as well. So yeah, really exciting talent. Moving on to Millwall next. Again, we are looking for a number 10. Creative force, someone that can also score goals. So I have gone for Jan Fleming. I think he would be the obvious pickup for Leeds United from Millwall for me anyway.
I was going to go for Zian Fleming, so I'll go for Casper De Noor in midfield now, who I think, I don't want to disrespect poor old Gary Rowett, but I think might get a few more touches and a few more passes and be a bit more of a progressive, creative player, let's just say, under Joe Edwards going forward.
Great start, by the way, wasn't it, mate? Was it 4 in the end? Yeah, wow.
4-0. Stoke. I would have gone for Luke McNally, but he's on loan from Burnley. So I'll go for Mehdi Leris, who's fairly new one for all of us. I think he's Algerian, sort of very direct inside forward, scored a couple of decent goals already. I could be totally wrong about him. He looks a player, so I'll go for him.
Yeah, I've gone for one of the older players. Again, I looked at that Stoke side and I don't think they were great against us either, even though they beat us. And I just thought, you know what? A little bit of looking back, I'll go for Ender Stevens. Just because, he can give us a bit of experience down that side. Ender Stevens for me, which is a bit of a wild one. Next one, and I know we said at the start, it can be based on if you want them to come into your side, if it's potential. This one's purely to just stick him in the reserves and watch him rot. So it's Watford, and I've gone for Tom Ince. So yeah, I'm going to bring in Ince, and he can just sit and play reserves football for a bit until he's ready to actually move on. And
until you've got 100 injuries. And you need him groveling, cap in hand.
For sure.
I'm going to go for Yasser Asprilla, he's only 19. He's one of those players who you watch and you think he doesn't even know where he's taking the ball next. But bit of a wild card player, and I think with Kieran McKenna and the patterns of play instilled into him, I think he could be a real cracker. I'm disappointed I've got Blackburn and I've got to pick first because I wondered who you were going to pick. So I will not go for Sammy Smodic, even though he's top scorer in the league. I think I've got it right, good. I'll go for Adam Wharton, who's a brilliant young central midfielder who's going to end up in the Premier League. He's probably not what Ipswich probably needs Smodic right now, as in someone ready to go. But I'll go for Wharton and leave the door open.
Yeah, thank you. This is where your extensive knowledge comes in, because outside of Schmodic, I think it was slim pickings. But 10 goals. It speaks for itself, doesn't it? It has to be Sammy Schmodic. Next up, we're getting towards the top now. So I'm going to go Sam Bell at Bristol City. Young, exciting player. I was really intrigued between the matchup between him and Gray, having both, been of a young age. And I actually rated Sam Bell, to be honest, for the 60 odd minutes that I've seen of him. I know we have a gluttony of wingers at our disposal, but having seen Bristol City play, I think Sam Bell would be the one for me that I would take at Leeds United.
Yeah, Bell's a really good shout. Actually, I've not changed my mind here. I will stick with Tommy Conway because Ipswich need that striker position filled, and he's very young and powerful. But it's been a production line at Bristol City with Semenyo and Alex Scott, and the two that I think we've mentioned are the next two that Liam Manning's going to be wanting to build around there. Middlesbrough, this is a bit of a wild card because he didn't have a very good season last season, but I've gone for Isaiah Jones because the season before I absolutely loved him, and I thought this guy is going to rip the Championship a new one down the right wing back. He's just getting back to his best now, and I think it's a real quality player there. So I'll say Isaiah Jones for Borough.
Yeah, I have to have a bit of a nostalgic view of this one, and I'd bring Johnny Howson home.
Love it.
Just to have him around the place, it'd be nice. Yeah, I know he's getting on now, but well regarded within the Leeds United fan base. So yeah, just bring him home from Teesside back down to Yorkshire. So yeah, Johnny Howson for me. Cardiff City up next. Listen, I was quite impressed by this guy. Bit of a man mountain. Centre back coming from Greece, I believe. It's Dimitri Gutas. I thought he was really, really good when we played them. And Leeds United having Strauch out now for a period of time and having to rely heavily on Cooper, we are light in that area as well. And I actually rate Gutas. So yeah, I would bring in Dimitri Gutas.
I thought we were going to pick the same one when you said Greek. Then I've gone for the other Greek side. I've gone for Manolis Siopsis in central midfield. So I think they've impressed everyone a little bit. Cardiff, haven't they, with their recruitment and how they've started the season? But I will go for Siopsis, who's had a great start in central midfield. Okay, Hull City. I'm 99% sure we're going to pick the same guy here. Jaden Philogene down the there we go. Down the really good pickup that for Hull. Actually, because we think probably 4 or 5 million, and he'd been on loan at a couple of championship clubs. He just looks quality, doesn't he? Looks like he can play up the level. Really good player, Philogene.
Yeah, but brilliant. I talk to Hullen back on a regular basis on our White Rose Rivals podcast, and he said he's arguably the best winger in the league, and I don't think it's too far. Obviously, I'm going to say Somerville. There will be other names on that list, but Philogene definitely up there, and I think he would get in the majority of sides in this division without a shadow of a doubt. So for me, yeah, it's an easy pickup. Next up, we have West Brom. If I was a bit unsure of my manager, I'd have taken Carlos Corberán, but Daniel Farke can do no wrong. So I am going to go for a player that Leeds United have flirted with on a number of occasions. Again, maybe getting on a little bit now. It would be John Swift, because, as I say, even though he is getting on, I still think he's got the skills needed to be able to create in this side. You know, we're looking for a creative number 10, if you like. So I think Swift would be able to fill that void for sure. So, yeah, John Swift for me.
Yeah, Swift, he was screaming at me, Joe, but he just does miss a lot of games, though, each season. I know in the games he plays, he puts up great numbers. Yeah. So I've gone for Grady Diangana, who, a bit like Isaiah Jones, was, you'll remember him and Pereira when it was West Brom and
definitely.
Leeds going up in 2019-20. Gone off the boil since, but really seems to be coming back to form, and I seem to be picking a lot of tricky wingers, don't I? So, oh god,
they're the most exciting players. They're the most exciting players.
And the next bloody team, Sunderland, whose best player is clearly a tricky winger. So let me leave it open for you to pick Jack Clark, because I've picked too many wingers. I'll go for Pierre Ekwa, who's, you said Man Mountain earlier about Gutas. Ekwa is the sort of guy, you look at him and you think, oh, good first touch, great physicality, gets about the pitch. If he can string it together, he's 21 as well. Looks like could be a hell of a player. So I'll go for Ekwa and Joe.
Yeah, we have to return him back to his club, right? It has to be Jack Clark. I know there's a lot of people actually that I've seen saying if Nonto does go, let's go get Jack Clark back. So I don't think that'll be realistic, though. I think his next move's to the Premier League. So any player that's exiting this division to move into the Premier League, tells you how good they are in effect. And we know that firsthand. I know he went off the boil with his move to Spurs too soon, maybe. But yeah, Jack Clark's got bags and bags of skill and potential. So for me, yeah, bring him back, Jack Clark. Next one is Preston. Now, I can't lie to you, I did struggle with Preston, which I maybe shouldn't have because they're fourth in the league. So they clearly have a lot of players. But the one that I went for, who's not actually played competitively for them yet, which is a bit wild, but it's a player that Leeds United were close to signing before he opted for Liverpool. It's Calvin Ramsey, a right back, Liverpool. I think he played a couple of cup games for Liverpool, then got injured, got sent to Preston, got injured again, was going to return back to Liverpool, but he's apparently okay at Preston now, and he's close to a start. So Calvin Ramsey, one to watch for anyone who hasn't seen him right back. And it's a player Leeds United wanted, so therefore let's take him again this time.
I'll give you the W on that. You've definitely outthought me on Preston there. I've gone for Ben White, man. I've just gone for the central midfielder who makes things tick. And he didn't play against Ipswich, which was, I think maybe came on as a sub, and stepped up really nicely from Doncaster into the Championship. Always good numbers. And I really like Ryan Lowe. I don't mean this disrespectfully, but I think could, in a different team that maybe, had more expectations of winning more games and didn't have to defend in the way that Preston sometimes have to, I think he would be a great player. Nice. Here we go now. We got our first year one parachute team. So we're completely many options here. So many, so Southampton, I'll go for Kyle Walker-Peters because I remember doing a watch along for the first game of the season. Okay, it was Sheffield Wednesday, and we knew they were bad. We didn't know quite how terrible they were going to be. And he was just taking the mickey, just right back to central midfield, just looked eons above everybody else. International player there. I think it cost you 15, 20, 25 million to get him out. But Kyle Walker-Peters.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to also go for Kyle Walker-Peters, but having just picked Calvin Ramsey, I'm going to go for Ross Stewart. Let's do it. Let's go for Ross Stewart. I know he's not, had... I don't think he's played yet, has he? He's still returning back from injury.
Was he in the squad in the last game?
Potentially.
Yeah, I don't know whether he got on. Sorry, carry on.
Yeah, no, but I know Leeds United fans, a lot of us, wouldn't have minded him. I still think there's loads that would sell Bamford in a heartbeat in January, and therefore we'd need another striker. Ross Stewart was one that was discussed. Clearly a player, because otherwise, Southampton wouldn't have picked him up. Scores a lot of goals. It's just his injury record, but yeah, it would be Ross Stewart for me. Now, obviously, Leeds are in third, but I'm not going to pick someone. So I'll just skip ahead to Ipswich, and then you can come back and give me a Leeds player. But in second is Ipswich, and for me, there only has to be one pick. We don't have a left back. He was our left back. We shouldn't have sold him. It has to be Leif Davis. I think he was putting up amazing numbers in League One and has continued to perform in the Championship as well. And it's clear, whatever Bielsa and the club's seen in him, they were right to see it, because it looks like his career's only going one way. So yeah, Leif Davis would be my easy pick at Ipswich. There are a host of players, but Leif would be the one.
Yeah, I had written down that you'd pick Davis or Broadhead, but with the Leeds link, obviously Davis as well, and Leeds have got loads of wingers. So my player I would pick from Leeds, obviously you've got literally 7 wingers or forwards that would get in, other than maybe Leicester or Southampton, would just walk into most teams. So what Ipswich would need right now would be Ampadu or Kamara. So I'll say Ampadu, just, straight in there, physical, patrol central midfield. The smart business call would be Archie Gray, though. So I'll say Archie Gray because, if I'm sitting here moaning that Ipswich don't have parachute payments and other people do, well, Archie Gray, if he's worth 45 million or whatever, is the equivalent of that if you can get him and sell him on. So they need Ampadu, but the right business call would be Archie Gray. I'll let you go first on Leicester, because I've got it down to 2, and I'll pick the one you don't pick.
Yeah, I'm Keenan Dewsbury Hall. I think him and Rutter are up there in terms of creating goal scoring opportunities. So I think if you had them both in the side, I think you'd be talking record points total and just smashing it. So he's above this level, goes without saying. He was quiet against Leeds, I can't lie, but I think that was more so how well Leeds United played in that game. But Keenan Dewsbury Hall is above this level, and therefore, and he, like you said, in terms of who would get in, he's a player that gets into Leeds United's side. You can maybe argue some of the other positions, but straight away, he just slots straight in for me. So Keenan Dewsbury Hall, easy pick for me, Ben.
Yeah, I was at Leicester Coventry on day one, and Leicester weren't very good, and he basically scored twice at the end and won the game on his own after Coventry had taken Gustavo Hamer off, who was kind of his equal before he got sold. Obviously I'd pick Dewsbury Hall, but you've done that. So I'll pick James Justin, who's basically another England fullback who can play either side and would have an absolute field day in any team in the Championship that's going to have the majority of the ball. But come on, with the Leicester squad, the Leeds squad, and the Southampton squad, you pick about 8 players, couldn't you, frankly?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it goes without saying. I think, we've picked one from each club, but looking at, I genuinely would say there is probably 5 or 6 looking at my list that I genuinely would take, though. Do you know what I mean? It's not just a case of, I've had to pick this player. You've got Victor Johansson, Elias Chair, Sarah, Jack Clark, Philogene, Sammy Schmodix. There's loads in there, isn't there, that you would actually say, if they came to you in January, you'd be like, yeah, that's a good signing.
I think the difference is that, as speaking as a Leeds fan, you probably don't need, you'd love to pick up one great signing. Whereas if you've got a squad that's come up from League One, you probably really would want, God, if you could get any one of those players in January, it's probably not likely, but there we go. Joe, absolute pleasure to do this with you. Everybody go ahead and subscribe to Joe's channel. We've done a few collaborations now, and I didn't in my wildest dreams think that I would, as an Ipswich fan, be a relevant topic of conversation on a Leeds channel, because I thought there'd probably be about 10 places in us between us. But it's been a great sort of couple of appearances so far. And guys, I hope you enjoy Joe's work. And we're actually rivals, which is absolutely amazing,
I love it,
isn't it?
Well, let's hope we can continue that into the Premier League, and Leicester drop and us 2 go up. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, mate?
chance of, have you seen our December, mate? Chance to be a
I've
fine
seen.
thing, wouldn't it?
I'm watching it like this. Yeah, it's time. I actually made the prediction, Ben, that by January, Leeds United will be in the top 2.
It could be
could
9 December
games?
23rd, couldn't it?
Yeah,
it could be
2 in November and then 7 in December. That's a lot of games, a lot of swing of points. So I don't think it's that bold to say that, to be honest. Hopefully it's with you, but we'll see.